Welcome. Welcome back to Thursday Tea Time Live. Streaming live on Instagram and YouTube. I wasn't here last week, of course, because I was on tour. So I'm going to basically tell you what we got up to, where we went, and welcome you back. Hi, everyone. Welcome if you're joining me on Instagram. Please give me a little wave or stick a heart so I know that you can hear me okay. Same if you are on YouTube, that would be fabulous. Let me know that you're there. Let me know you're okay. If you're watching me on Instagram, my eyes are going to flick up because I've got a new setup, and that's where I've got my my YouTube camera. So let's see if this works. Hi Gab, how are you? Nom de plume. Hello. I can see everyone joining. Welcome. I hope you had a good week last week, and hopefully, I know some of you did, but hopefully, hi Jenna, many of you got to follow a little bit of the tour, which I was sharing as we were going around. It was extremely busy. Obviously, when I'm away, I am actually tour leader. That is my job, and so I shared as much as I possibly could. Gareth Russell was my sort of co-leader, if you like, for the week. He's on there. He's on the tour as resident historian, and he was ever so good at taking little videos and pictures. So he's going to be sharing quite a bit from the tour on his Instagram profile at _Gareth Russell. So check that out if you're interested, because we went to some amazing places. But before we get into that, I should introduce myself. I never do. I'm Philippa. I am the one, the face, the voice, the brains, the brawn behind British History Tours, British History Channel. And last week I was back to doing what I set out to do all those years ago, which was take people to historic locations around the UK. Hiya, Brian. Welcome from Cornwall. How are you doing down there? Hopefully your weather's a little bit better, although you're not that far away from me. So it's just not summer. It was summer last week. I tell you, we looked out with the weather. Hi, Anadita, watching on YouTube, and Janice. I hope you are both well. Anadita, I'm really well. Thank you so much. It has been an absolute boost, an absolute boon to get out and about again with a group. And I will tell you more about it because we did some fantastic things. I just think you'll be really interested to hear about. So yeah, and then I followed it up with a couple of days doing more exploring places that I haven't been to before. Wells Cathedral was one, and Glastonbury Abbey was the other. If we get a chance to talk about those today, we will. Otherwise, I will save them up and speak to you about them in another tea time chat. If you're a patron, I'll be sharing with you about Wells Cathedral later on today. If you are nobility or above tier, because I name them all. Nobility, no, upper class, isn't it? Starts with Janice, you're upper class. There's nobility, there is royalty, and then there is monarchy, and there are various levels of benefits depending on which level you want. That is over on patreon.com/British History. And I will. So hi, I can see my journalist. Hi, welcome, Claire. And lots of other people. Sorry, I can't read the handles. Thank you for joining. So also, I would like to say a big thank you to Henrietta, who has bought me a coffee this week. She has also booked on to the Anne Boleyn Tour for 2023. So, and then bought me a coffee, which is really sweet. Thank you so much to everyone who has bought me a coffee so far. That has paid for this new camera that I have for streaming on YouTube. So thank you ever so much. But also, it was also to help me gear up for, we have Sarah and I, the Tudor Travel Guide, have a masterclass on Saturday, visiting Tudor London, or Tudor London Made Easy, I think we called it, a live masterclass. That is happening on Saturday. My journalist is in a traffic jam. Well, I will keep talking and help ease the pain of the traffic. I didn't think they got traffic jams over in Greece. I thought it was only us. I'm glad. We got stuck in a traffic jam. Oh, and it once started raining. Anyway, last week that was it though. Luckily, not didn't make us late for anything. Where was I? So yes, so Henrietta has bought me a coffee, but thank you, yes, to everyone who has ever bought me a coffee. Like I say, it's bought this camera ready for the masterclass on Saturday and for streaming on YouTube regardless. And next thing I want to buy is I want to replace my lapel mic so that I can record. I want a Bluetooth one so that I can record some of the speakers that we have on tour and make those talks available to other people as well. So that's the next steps. If you want to buy me a coffee, it's buymeacoffee.com/Philippa, and that is where your money will be going. I know it says buy me a coffee, but that's the name of the website. I mean, I'm happy to take coffee as well. Coffee does keep me going, and it literally is the first thing I do of a morning is have a coffee. I don't even get out of bed. I have one delivered, not from outside the house. That would be really decadent. So like I say, we've been doing the Anne Boleyn Tour, walking in Anne Boleyn's footsteps. Now, this is a tour that I've done many times before, but it was super duper this year. Let me tell you a bit more about it. And then, like I say, if we get time, because I'll be with you for about another 50 minutes today. Janice's working class. Sorry, I've just seen the definitely upper class Janice, at least. No, I'm with you down. I'm with you in the working class, certainly. If we get time, I will also chat to you about Glastonbury Abbey and Wells Cathedral. Before I get on to Anne Boleyn, I also want to mention, because if any of you are in Patreon, I'm going to be, well, it doesn't matter even if you're not, there's going to be an interview. And the reason I mention Patreon is because patrons can ask their own questions of anyone who I do an interview with. I'm interviewing soon, not next week, week after. Next week's Jubilee week. I do hope you're doing something for it. It may well, do you realise it may well be the last one a lot of us see? Do the maths. So anyway, go for it. Yes, I'm interviewing Elizabeth Norton. Now, Elizabeth Norton might be a familiar name for anyone who is interested in the Tudors. She has written many books on the Tudor period and consults on lots of programs about them. But she also has, and any of you who've been watching me for the last few months will know, I now share this, a fascination with the Anglo-Saxon period. So this period before the Norman conquest, where England is formed, Christianity is adopted as a religion throughout the country, and we end up with one ruler for England and Wales, and so that this is the England that William, who was Norman, William the Conqueror, comes to and can conquer. So the Anglo-Saxon period is incredibly interesting. It's also over 700 years in length. Yeah, so it's a big period to get your head around. Anyway, Elizabeth shares this fascination with me, and she actually has a book on the lady's actually, its name is Ethelfrith, but for some reason, when she wrote the book, she was made to call it Elfrida. Let's not dumb down people. Ethelfrith. I don't know why we have to change people's names. Janice, I love Elizabeth Norton. And Rennie, hi, how are you? Sounds interesting. Yes. So I will be actually interviewing Elizabeth about powerful women in Anglo-Saxon England. Now, like many of the records, we haven't got many about anyone, and then of course the ones we have got are about who were the leaders at the time. However, Ethelfrith gets her own coronation, so she is significant, and I'm going to be talking to Elizabeth about Ethelfrith, but about women in powerful women in Anglo-Saxon England anyway. So if you are a patron and you want to put a question to Elizabeth, it can actually be about any of her work. Go over to Patreon and I will post there. Well, you can message me directly, or I'll put a post there to prompt you for your questions soon as well. So anyway, I thought I'd just mention that. And anyone who wants a good idea of who Ethel Frith was, then Elizabeth's book Elfrida is available on Amazon. Now, shall we get into what I told you we were going to talk about? Anne Boleyn. So the Anne Boleyn tour that I run, it's actually not the only one about Anne Boleyn, by the way. If you are an Anne Boleyn fan, we have On Progress with Anne Boleyn in September as well. But the Anne Boleyn tour is one of the longest running ones that I've done. Rennie says, what time period? Was it the same time period as The Last Kingdom? Yes, it was. Which I loved as well. I think it might actually go from Ethel Frith might be just afterwards. I'm still getting my head around it. 700 years. I mean, it's a lot. It's like saying, right, I'm going to learn everything from Edward III to the current day, and from scratch, not knowing anything. So that's where we're at. Anyway, I hope everyone's got a drink. By the way, I have my tea. It is Thursday tea time. After all. Sam, hi. How are you doing? We met last week at the Tower. Brilliant. It was lovely to meet you. Yeah, so for the Anne Boleyn tour, right, let me get onto it. We stayed at Hever Castle. Every year we stay at Hever Castle for 4 nights, actually take over the Astor Suite, which is the wing that the Astor had built on to Hever to accommodate his guests. So we take that over, we stay there. So that's fantastic. The food's fantastic. I don't know if any of you saw any of the pictures. Oh, well, I don't know. How would you pronounce Marchu? It's probably breaks down into a really easy handle, doesn't it? And I just can't get it. Oh, Lottie Rose, I must have missed you guys by 2 days at the Tower. You were there on the 21st. Yes. We'll come back to the Tower in a minute. But yes, so we stay at Hever Castle, and the first day of the tour we spent at the castle. About half the group decided that they would dress up as Tudor royalty. Yes, it's just Ma. Okay, Ma. Nice, thank you. So you're doing a project on Hever Castle. Well, that's really interesting. There are, presumably, you know about Dr. Owen Emerson, and he'd be a great person to speak to. So we stay at Hever Castle. So yeah, about half the group decided they would dress up as Tudor royalty. I will share some more pictures as they're coming through now. They just looked amazing. They did look incredible. And what I hadn't actually anticipated, and Samantha Rees from the Tudor Royalty Experience, who came down with the costumes, provided all of those dresses and the men's outfits as well. She said, you do know it's going to take them about 3 times as long to get anywhere today. So they were being stopped and asked for their photographs. Do you know what? It made everyone smile. It made everyone smile. I was, in fact, I dressed up but a little bit later, but I was walking with them. We walked up to St. Peter's Church, which is right next door to Hever Castle. It is where Thomas Boleyn, Anne Boleyn's father, is buried. So the family could have worshipped there from time to time. As we walked up, I could just see the smiles on people's faces as we walked past, well, as those in the group who were dressed up walked past. It was fantastic. It was fantastic, especially for the last 2 years. Anytime I go anywhere and people are happy and smiley, I really, really appreciate it. It's nice. It's a lovely place to be. Yes, we went up to St. Peter's. Gareth was fantastic because we actually went up to St. Peter's to have a look at Sarah's asked me a question. Or Sarah, sorry. What's the best series that documents the lives of the House of Tudor? Best series. That's a really good question. I'm more of a bookie myself. So Leanza Delisle has a book I'm listening to at the moment on Audible. It's about the Tudors. Tudor, let me get you the exact title. It'll probably start playing now because Tudor, the Family Story, Leanza Delisle. That is a book, and you can get it on Audible, as I've ably just demonstrated. That's how I am consuming it, imbibing it. Also, Houses of Power, which is a book by Simon Thurley, gives you a really great insight into actually the day-to-day lives of the Tudors, because he looks at the architecture, so the buildings in which they were operating, and that has an impact on understanding what their day-to-day lives were like. So we walked up, as I was saying, to St. Peter's Church, which is where Thomas Boleyn is buried. If you ever get a chance to go there, it is one of the best examples of brass work on his tomb. And they were inducting a new vicar, which meant we couldn't go in. It's probably like the one day they've been closed. So anyway, it was fine. Gareth just gave us a history of the church, of churches in the area. He was brilliant. The way in which parish churches work, the way in which that was how the landowning classes mixed, saw people. So that was really, really good. And then Dr. Jonathan Foyle joined us. If you haven't checked out any of Dr. Jonathan Foyle's work, he is also a great person. Look up his videos on YouTube or on. There's quite a few. There's a brilliant one called Henry VIII. It's quite old now, but it's really good. Henry VIII, Patron or Plunderer. Jenna says, if anyone has a subscription to True Royalty TV, I presume that's a US thing, is it? There's a great documentary series called Walking Tudor England with Susanna Lipscomb. So there you go. There's another one. She's got a book, I think, that accompanies that as well. So Dr. Jonathan Foyle came to speak to us, and he gave us a talk about Hampton Court Palace at the point of Henry meeting Anne and the changes he made, and it was absolutely fascinating, beside the fact that he's just brilliant and I could listen to him all day every day anyway. Later on in the day we did a hidden heaver tour, so this is where you get to go behind the ropes, you get to go into the private rooms that aren't on the normal trail. Mark, I was thinking of buying Anne Boleyn 500 Years of Lies. No, I haven't read it. No, and there's good reason. There's plenty of other books out there that I would suggest you go to first. There's not 500 Years of Lies. I mean, Anne Boleyn's story is not hidden. Yeah, and it's a bit weird that it's insinuated that kind of people living today have some kind of, I don't know, are somehow bought into continuing a lie. I think, no. Check out, what else? Check out Sarah Morris's and Natalie Grueninger's book, In the Footsteps of Anne Boleyn. There are so many. But anyway, I think I've given you quite a few to start off with. And in terms of Hever Castle itself, there is Owen Emerson and Claire Ridgway's book about the Boleyns at Hever Castle. So have a look out for that one as well. You can get all of these off Amazon. So we got to look into Hidden Hever. The pink bathroom, if any of you ever seen the photographs I've shared of the pink bathroom before, it was still as bright as ever, of course. And Astor's bathroom. So the pink bathroom is Lady Astor's bathroom. And there's another bathroom off Lord Astor's, John Jacob Astor's room, study, in fact, which you get to see. Plain as, literally the plainest bathroom suite you've ever seen, even for the fact that it's sort of 90 years old or whatever. Hello, Terry. How you doing? Hiya, Julian. And hiya, Corinne. Nice to see you. And sorry, where was I? Yes, and you saw Lord Astor's bathroom, plain as, and then Lady Astor's room is pink. Sam, do you know how they made it so pink? Well, it's wallpaper, a lot of wallpaper. The suite is pink. There are bathroom scales that are pink, so there's material on them. The toilet cover is pink. Actually, when you think of the different materials that are in that room, it is actually quite interesting. How, I mean, I don't know how interesting, but that all those materials and they managed to get the same shade of pink. I'd have thought that'd be quite difficult. Janice said the costumes look beautiful and well fitted. Did you get to order a specific size in advance? So if you were coming on one of my tours, maybe one day you'll want it. Then Samantha has a range of dresses, and you give her one measurement. It's just your bust measurement, and then that she fits you to the closest she can. There are other people who actually order dresses from her, in which case it is specifically tailored to your measurements, which I would love to be able to do one day soon, hopefully. So there's the pink bathroom, but we also got, so when you do a Hidden Heaver tour, it's after hours, so there's no one else there, so that's lovely as well because we have the place to ourselves. And then we come down into the Great Hall, which is where we had our dinner. So that Great Hall that's roped off, no ropes. We sat down at the table and we had our evening meal, which is always 3 courses because I can't stand the idea of anyone going hungry. So it's like, you don't have to eat it all, but you're going to get it served to you and just leave what you don't want. That's what your mum used to say. So that was just the first day. Can you believe it? Oh, Genesis, a lot of mansions were designed and built during, the Gilded Age. Could do it, yeah. Sam, yes, it was amazing to eat there. Yes, it was great. The staff there as well are brilliant. They really look after us well. So that was our first day. The second day, well, the first full day. The second full day, we went to Hampton Court Palace, and Sarah, Sarah Slater, who sometimes joins us here, Hampton Court Palace Guide on Instagram, was with us for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. We had a brilliant tour with her as she took us to the room where Jane Seymour gave birth and unfortunately died after the birth of Edward. So it's excuse me a moment. I've just removed someone who wants to be their mummy, apparently. No, thank you. So yes, Hampton Court. So fancy. So the room that Jane Seymour gave birth. Now these were the Queen's rooms. So actually, Catherine. Well, I can't remember whether she said Catherine or Aragon had been in that. I think she had actually, but Anne Boleyn had made changes, and Jane Seymour was making a lot of changes, which is very interesting. Sam, but that room had a lot of atmosphere. Unfortunately, one of the reasons, I think the main reason it's not on the visitor route is other than the fireplace, which you'll see if you look on my photographs. If you didn't catch my story as I was posting last week, if you go to my Instagram bio and choose the highlight that says Anne Boleyn, you will see all the photos that I shared during the tour. You'll see them, they're all in there, and I shared one of the fireplace, which is incredible. And one of the photos, you will have to probably zoom in, somebody called Thomas has inscribed his name in the fireplace. Other than that, though, the room is completely Georgified, whatever the term would be. So it's really quite plain. But that was just incredible to see that. And then everyone got a couple of hours to themselves to go and explore. Yeah, Emma, there's I've been told explicitly to make sure I mention that it's not on the visitor route. So I'm afraid, I don't know. See, oh, I can't say. But we were very lucky. It was great. When we got back to Hever, because like I say, we stayed there for the entire week, or the entire 4 nights. Gareth Russell did us a talk. So Gareth spoke to us about the Boleyns and politics, and that was really good. Really bribery, Emma. Well, I'm not going to encourage you. You do what you need to do. So Gareth talked to us about the Boleyns and politics, and a lot about the butler side of the family, which is the Irish heritage. And did you know that the butler crest was the falcon that Anne Boleyn used and Elizabeth I used? So they are incredibly significant and yet hardly ever talked about. Well, Gareth talked to us about it. Lisa, what did a typical meal consist of? Well, we mixed it up, obviously, starter, main, and dessert, and coffee. So we honestly, the food there is incredible. Hi everyone, I can see joining. Hi Ali, how Alessandra, a star flash. Hello. I am, for those of you who've just joined, I'm just talking about what it was like last week to follow in the footsteps of Anne Boleyn and what we were doing, because I was running. This is, by the way, the first group tour I've been able to run since 2019 because of the big C. So it was just incredible on all sorts of levels. And we had a full house. We had 20 people. So I keep the group sizes small because I think it's really important to get the best experience. I don't want to be taking groups of 50 people so that we're on and off coaches and people can't hear the speakers or the guides. And so 20, it was great. It was really, really, really good. So we did Hampton Court. We came back. Gareth spoke to us, and we had our meal in our private dining room. And the following day was the 19th of May. So I said I'd come back to talking about the Tower of London. That is obviously the anniversary of Anne Boleyn's execution at the Tower. If you want to see a video from the Tower, me and the History After Dark girls went live for about 10 minutes because I was trying to fit it into the day. So if you go over to history.after.dark on Instagram, you can see a video that we did that day. And I've got a couple on about Anne at the Tower actually on YouTube, and on YouTube is probably the easiest place to find it, about where was she held, where she was tried, and where she was executed. And of course you can visit St. Peter ad Vincula, which is where she is buried at the altar. So we Mark, we actually how I time the tour is to be at the Tower of London on the 19th. However, that does mean that we're not at Hever for the daytime part of the 19th. Now, of course, Hever, being Anne Boleyn's childhood home, do things to commemorate the anniversary. And one of the things they do is open up Anne's books of hours. There's 2 books of hours. They're effectively prayer books. They open up her books of hours, the 2 that they have, to the pages, there's 1 in each, where she has written an inscription. Now that is because obviously it's delicate. You don't want that to fade. It's open to that page once a year. But we were at the Tower of London, so we weren't going to get to see it. However, the staff at Hever, Dr. Owen Emerson especially, and Ali were incredibly generous and allowed us to come into the castle right at the end of opening time to be able to see the books, which the group were and me, I hadn't seen the books open to those pages. So we got to see that, which was quite breathtaking. And if you have a look on my Instagram, I've shared a picture of the 2 inscriptions. Then, because that wasn't enough, then Jay, who is the Tudor Songbook, she is a singer. You may have seen, if you haven't checked out her Instagram profile, please do so. She was at Hever that day. Again, didn't think we'd be able to see her. I did say to her we'd be there, but maybe we'd be sort of passing ships in the night. She stayed on and sang 2 songs for the group in the courtyard of Hever, which was incredible. And then Tracy Borman came to speak to the group as well, and she spoke about Anne Boleyn and the Queens of England, and how Anne is so significant in, even as a Queen consort, and for what happened to her. Obviously, in the end, she's a significant figure. So we had the talk from Tracy Borman, and then we finished off with a barbecue outside, Hever style barbecue. Very, very nice. On our private lawns outside the back of the castle. So you get really, really nice views of the castle from there, because you've got obviously the moat which goes all the way around, and it's a view of the castle that most people don't get to see. So that was incredible. So there you go. That was how last week went. The speakers were brilliant. So, like I said, Dr. Jonathan Foyle joined us. Gareth Russell was with us all week. He's with me again in July. We're doing the life and times of Elizabeth I in July. And Tracy Borman came to speak to us on the final night as well. Both Jonathan and Tracy are coming to speak on the life and times of Elizabeth I as well, which is in July. So you'll be able to live vicariously once again through us to follow that tour. Like I said, Gareth is the tour historian for that one again, but we're also joined by Leander Delisle and Leslie Smith. That one's gonna, yeah. I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to that one as well. So that was last week, and then this week I've been getting busily ready. Oh, honestly, everyone is so welcome. The tours are they're my pride and joy. I would say they're good, but they really are. I make a lot of effort to make them as once in a lifetime as you can possibly imagine. Saying that, many of my customers have been with me before. I think my rebooking rate is pre-pandemic was, well, even post-pandemic actually, is 2/3. So 66% of people have already come back or have booked to come back. So it would be lovely. I mean, it would be lovely to have met you all on here and see you and meet you in person, which has happened last week, actually. People who have because obviously I've upped my social media presence during the pandemic so that we can talk history as much as possible. Rennie, thank you. The tours sound breathtaking. Janice, I'm saving up to do one of your tours sometime. Yes, please do. Please do. Hello, Brian from New York. That's a lot of eyes. 6, Brian the 6th, maybe. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Testament to my efforts. Thank you very much. And then this week I've been prepping for, I think I mentioned it earlier, Sarah and I, who's the Tudor travel guide, we are doing Tudor London Made Easy, a live masterclass on Saturday afternoon here. It's 3 till 6. And we are going through, I think it's ended up 16 Tudor places in London, because it could be quite difficult in London to know the Tudor history. I don't think it's as obvious. So we're talking about where to go if you want to discover, explore, learn about Tudor history in London, and importantly, how to get around, because that's not always obvious. And you might be able to get around, but if you've taken 3 times as long as you needed to get between places, you're not going to get to as many places. So a lot of it will be, hiya, British History Events, hello, welcome. A lot of it will be talking about the travel element of it as well. Before I move on from talking about Anne Boleyn, I really should mention that 2023, the Anne Boleyn Tour, is on sale now for people who are subscribed to my newsletter. And you can be subscribed to my newsletter by following the link in my bio or going on to BritishHistoryTours.com. And we're over half full. I know we're over half full, so spaces are going quite quickly. So I haven't even put it on general sale yet because they were going so quickly. So if you are interested, make sure you're on the newsletter list. My stomach's rumbling. I hope you can't hear it. Make sure you're on the newsletter list, and you will get an email with the link to the web page, which isn't available any other way at the moment. And you can see if you want to come along, or you can just be nosy and see what happens. Actually, next year it's the same date again, 16th till the 20th of May. Basically, very, very similar to what we've done this year. And I will also be releasing the rest of the 2023 calendar soon too. I'm just putting it together. And then after the tour, so I've got a little bit of time now. What time are we on? I need to look at so I've got about 20 minutes left. I decided, okay, I tried to take 2 days off, and I wanted to go somewhere that I hadn't been before, that was still obviously historic. Oh, Emma, aiming for 2024. Yes. Unless you accept mini 5-month-old history enthusiasts next year. Right, it would be a total distraction because I would spend my whole time just looking after the baby. Emma is pregnant. So, yeah, actually, it would be nice for you, I think, to have a break by then as well. There was a couple who came who got 3 children back in the US, and they were having a lovely break. It was fantastic to see them relax and have some time together. Yeah, so I thought I'll give myself 2 days off. Do you know what happened? Do you want to guess what happened? I went places that I hadn't been before, spent the entire time reading, photographing, videoing. Oh dear, I'm not very good at taking time. Well, I mean, how amazing though. Still, you know, I'm constantly finding new places or places that I haven't been. Now, the 2 places I chose were everyone's coming in 2024. I'm looking forward to 2024 already. The 2 places I chose were Wells Cathedral, which I have the guide. Actually, to be fair, the guidebook's not that good, but there's a bigger book about it which I'm going to get. But look at that! Can everyone see that? It is that stunning in real life as well. And it has. This is the one I'm going to share in Patreon later. In my Patreon, patreon.com/British History if you're interested. Now, before I went in, I got speaking to someone in the street, but obviously who was connected to the cathedral. This is the one next door to it, is probably the prettiest street you've ever seen. It's called Vicar's Close. It's where it was built for the choristers of Wells Cathedral, and so it looks quite uniform. It's actually, the houses aren't as uniform as you think they're going to be as you walk up. Really, really pretty. I got talking to a man there, and he was telling me about to look out in the cathedral for the pagan green men. So he's like, they're hedging their bets. Now, so when we went in and I saw this, I thought, is that just a big pagan symbol? So this is the transept area underneath here. And can you see there's an arch and then a counter arch? And then what looks like 2 eyes. Now, to me, that looked like the mouth of something. Can anyone else see that, or am I just on my own thinking this? Now, of course, what it turned out to be is that when there was extra building work and an extra height on the tower, the masonry was beginning to fail, and so these were added in, and they're actually on this side as well and this side. So you get these. Yeah, it looks like a frog. Yeah, I've got octopus. Yeah, frog. Some kind of amphibian. I like the frog emoji, Sam. Thank you for the illustration as well. But doesn't it look bizarre? Now, the following day, also, sorry, Wells Cathedral. So you will have seen this. I'm going to share more in my Patreon, but you will have likely seen this staircase. Now, this staircase, I don't know if you can see, it goes straight up, but it winds off to the side, and that goes into the chapter house. Anyway, so I'm going to be showing more of that later. The following day, I went to Glastonbury Abbey. Now, everyone will have heard of Glastonbury. It is the same area where Glastonbury Music Festival happens. Some people appear to have gone, got stoned, and never left, I have to say. But the actual abbey is beautiful. And I didn't realise how much of it was left. So Glastonbury Abbey, it's got a really long history back to Anglo-Saxon times. So it must have been one of the, I said earlier about Anglo-Saxon, during the Anglo-Saxon period, this is when Christianity was adopted, took over sort of in the entirety from paganism. It took a while, and there was a lot of toing and froing, but Glastonbury Abbey was established. There was a big fire though in the I think it was the late 12th century, after which they discovered the burial place, the tomb, skeletons of the legendary, I use that word purposely, King Arthur and his Queen Guinevere. They had the bones reinterred, and a fabulous tomb created, decked out with gold and painted all sorts of wonderful colours and precious stones put on it. So the bones were reburied in the presence of Edward I and his wife Eleanor of Castile as well. So they were there. If you go there, you're following the footsteps of Henry VII as well. He went there. So it's a really significant abbey. Now, of course, it's in ruin because of a certain Henry VIII, so the abbot there refused to sign the Act of Supremacy. Now, he was hung on Glastonbury Tour. Nice. Him and two of the monks were publicly executed, and the abbey basically torn apart for anything that was of value, including the roof. So this is why we have a lot of ruins, because the roofs were made of lead. Lead was extremely valuable. Obviously, without a roof, the building isn't weatherproof, and that combined with the buildings being stripped for anything that was of value or interest or use, we have the sorts of ruins that we have today. The one place that did survive, which is I've not seen an example of, if you look on my live that I did from Glastonbury, I spoke about it, but the abbot's kitchen, it looks almost like it's the bottom of it looks square in shape, but then it has it's more round. If you were getting your nails done that way, it'd be a score. That's not a word. Now, the fireplaces in there are intriguing because they are in the corner. So you actually had 3 fireplaces in the corners. This is another thing I'm going to show my patrons. And then a pot wash basically in the other corner. So you have 4 corners. And that survived because the roof was made of the roof is a slate roof, I think it was, not seen as valuable at the time, and then it had other uses. So the site was gifted to Edward Seymour, eldest brother, as you know, of Jane Seymour. The site was gifted to him, and he had a group of Flemish weavers who moved in, and they moved into what was previously the abbot's kitchen, and they worked in there, so it had use. And then it became a storeroom. It was a Quaker meeting house at one point, so it survived incredibly. So that is an intact building that is left there. Another intact building, the one other intact building is a chapel that was in use for women who lived in the almshouses there. So it's a fascinating site. The sun was beating down that day, so it was an incredibly pleasant day as well. So if you're in my Patreon, I will share some more details about both of those, about Wells Cathedral. That will be a bit more in depth. That's for people on the nobility tier and above. Today, not left myself a lot of time, but and then I will also share some photos of the abbot's kitchen as well. So it's been a bit of a wonderful week, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday. If any of you are joining Sarah and I for the Visiting Tudor London Masterclass, I will see you there. If you have signed up but you're not able to join live, that's fine, because it will be available on the playback till the end of the month, end of June. Now, next week is Jubilee week. It's the Queen's Platinum Jubilee next week, which means that we actually have an extra bank holiday, an extra public holiday in the UK. So it's a public holiday on Thursday and Friday next week. So I don't think I will be doing a Thursday tea time live, because I think we're going to something, unless it's rained off. So I may not see you next week, but I will be here the following week. Don't ask me what date that is. Just look out on my story and on my YouTube channel for a reminder. And I will be there to speak to you about other places that I will have visited and can talk to you about. Maybe we'll cover some events, and maybe we'll cover as well the Jubilee and what happened. Before I leave you, the flowers in bloom. Wait, what are they calling it? The flowers, the historic royal palaces. They've got the oh yes, sorry, Sam has just reminded me. History After Dark on Wednesday night. So History After Dark, you will be able to find me along with Dr. Kat and Catherine Brooks, who's not just the Tudor Tracker. We're doing a Jubilee special next Wednesday night on Instagram. So 8:15 p.m. on Wednesday evening. If you are around, we'd love you to join us for the Jubilee special. You're right, Sam. Thank you very much for that reminder. So the moat. So the moat at the Tower of London, they have Super Bloom. That's what they're calling it. And they have basically made it into this walkway. There's a slide. You're going to be able to slide into the moat, which is pretty fantastic. Although some people think tacky, I'm like, I'm allowed to use a slide. It's like not something I've been allowed to do for the last 20 years. So I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, with the weather being quite dry, it's been cool generally during the spring, but it's also been quite dry. The seeds hadn't been growing. So they're having to do some, I don't know, gardener things to make that all happen. Yes, there will be History After Dark next week, Janice. Yeah, sorry about last night. We had to cancel last minute. Kat actually has lost her voice, so we wanted her to rest up, ready for next week. So I'm going to leave you all there. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, if you want to help me save up towards a new mic, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Philippa. If you want to join my history club, where you get lots of things that I don't share publicly, then you can join my Patreon, which is patreon.com/British history. And if you're interested in the tours, especially the Anne Boleyn one, because it is selling out fast, then make sure you are on my newsletter list, which you can sign up to by following the link in my bio or by visiting britishhistorytours.com. Right. I think that's everything covered. So thank you all for joining me. And I will see you in 2 weeks' time for Thursday Tea Time Live. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Kath, Beth. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Jenna, I think, still with us. Thank you, Renee, Janice. Who else? Lisa. Thank you, Jenna. Have a great afternoon. See you all really soon. Bye for now. Bye, everyone.